He's pulled the shirt on, scored the goals. Andy Campbell on the red.
This is the red.
Well, I tell you what, it's a full house, lads. It really is a full house. We've got the man himself, AC, Andy Campbell, Cams. What did you used to get called as nicknames when you were, Boro, Cardiff?
Oh, it depends what kind of game we had, to be fair. Cams, Cammy, yeah, a little bit of anything. AC.
I was talking to Cammy today.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cammy.
The original.
The original Cammy, yeah, sorry,
Cammy.
mate, sorry.
Original.
And we've got Guesty in the studio as
Good
well.
evening.
It's great to see you, mate.
And you, Dave?
How are you? Because
I'm
you
good.
did your leg in and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, I broke my leg, but like you say, I've missed out on a few games because of it. But
Oh, no.
I've missed out coming to see you's good people. But
Sitting
I'm
next
back.
to
Good job,
Royalty.
good job you weren't a horse, might have put you down.
Oh, definitely. Should have been shot years ago, me, Andy. Lad.
I'll let you guys say that. I wouldn't dare. Well, all right then. Maybe you should have been Guesty. I don't know. So, fellas, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because games have come thick and fast. Players have fallen lame, thick and fast. It's been progress in the cup. Nice to get through the quarterfinals. Yeah. It's a bit of a disappointment. We'll come on to it. Plymouth, opportunity there to take 3 points, and you've got the not so small matter of Leicester coming to town. So where do you want to start, AC?
Let's start with Saturday. I think Saturday was I think I agree with you. I think in the bigger picture, I think it was something lost. I think we dominated the game in long patches. But you go to Plymouth. Plymouth are one of those sides for me who they've got no fear. You know, when they're playing at home, the attack, they don't really care about defending. A little bit like the Kevin Keegan of old, that they just seem to score loads of goals, let loads of goals in. It must be great being a season ticket holder. But I think it makes them very dangerous. And I think a lot of teams are going to fail there. I think a lot of teams will let goals in. A lot of teams will drop points there. So you can look at it that we got a point, which is good because we were losing at one point. But when you're in that position and you're behind and then you've got yourself back in ahead at 3-2, you've probably got to see things out. You know what I mean? If you're a top side, and I probably do put us in that bracket, you know what I mean, regardless of league position, we're a top side.
Yeah.
And when you're 3-2 away from home, the good sides and the teams who get promoted are those teams who hang on to those kind of things, and 1 point to turn into 3 is a massive, massive result.
Yeah. Guesty, were you disappointed at the weekend, or were you?
No, I thought it was an absolutely fantastic game of football.
Well, it was, but
the end
still,
of the day,
still we're Boro fans.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, what Andy said, I think it showed up some of our frailties where we've been falling short this season.
Yeah. But I think, like I said, they're a good side, though, aren't they? You know what I mean? Like give them credit where credit's due. They play with confidence. They've done it for years. They've been through League 2, scored loads of goals. Been through League 1, scored loads of goals. And
you find these teams will come up, like you say, up to Sheffield United. Yeah. I know Plymouth aren't pulling no trees up, but they are attractive to watch.
Yeah, they are good.
But Ipswich are doing the same. These teams seem to carry the momentum over
they do.
From League 1 into the Championship.
Yeah, certainly do.
Like you say, against some of the bigger teams, i.e. Middlesbrough, they seem to really put a
no fear
performance
of
on.
them. I think that's the thing. And for every Plymouth fan, you know what I mean, as I'm talking about fans, we have to mention the Middlesbrough fans, by the way, again. You know what I mean? Like you talk about, I thought they were amazing going to Exeter on a Tuesday night and rolling back in on silly o'clock on Wednesday morning, but on a Saturday you leave even earlier, you know what I mean, for those fans who went on the day, you know, those fans who stayed over, fantastic, and fair play to them, make a week or a few days of it. But you know what I mean, the fans are just, you know, you talk about the best in the country, and I'm not exaggerating here just because we're
it's a couple of thousand miles I've had to travel in the last
in a short space of time,
less than 14 days.
Yeah, and it's absolutely outrageous. You know what I mean, they go in the numbers. It gives, as a player and as an ex-player, it gives you that extra 5-10%. And if you're doing it for the fans and you're running through that tiredness stage and you're running out of energy and you need that 13th man or 12th man, they're there. You know what I mean, they're there all the time. And
so as a player, looking into the crowd, you appreciate what they're sending down to you.
100%, especially, and listen, I'm not being, the away following is a lot more energetic than they are at home. You know what I mean, they have a lot more support behind them. You know what I mean, you just get 100% backing because they're there for that reason. You know, when you're at home, you're getting a different kind of following. You're getting the numbers, and you can hear sometimes the moaning groans. But the away fans are just so passionate about what they're doing, and I just think they're absolutely brilliant. And everyone goes on about Sunderland fans and Newcastle fans, and Middlesbrough fans are right up there. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're the best. You know, North East fans are so passionate for football, and I don't think we get the credit for what we deserve just because we're not in the top league. It's irrelevant. You know,
it's definitely, like you say, the North East are better football.
Yeah, of course it is.
The fans, the people around football, it's our life.
Yeah, Guesty, put them over the top and they'll hold there.
Dave, they keep sliding. My head's shrinking. They keep sliding
There you go, you've got it. Yeah. Can you tell a difference whether there's 450 fans in the away end or whether there's 2,000 away fans in the end? Does it make a difference to the players?
I think the way it looks, you know what I mean. I think you put a photo on, Dave, didn't you, at the weekend about the photo from the Plymouth end, and because it just looks jam packed, it just looks even more special. You know what I mean? If that's 100 fans there or 1,400, you know what I mean? It just looks amazing. You know, I remember going back a few years when we played Burton away, behind the goal, when it's all standing behind that goal. You know what I mean? And the Middlesbrough fans just jam packed it out, and it's just so pleasing to see. You know, they go in the droves, they're so passionate about it, and it spurs them on. And you know what I mean? And the one thing I really like about it that Michael just doesn't. He acknowledges it all the time. You know what I mean? He appreciates what they're doing. He appreciates that they backed him. They're backing the players, and long may it continue. You know, because without the fans, this football club's not what it is. You know what I mean? It's a very family-run football club, and listen, I've been a Middlesbrough fan not as long as you two guys, and I've been a player, and I've just it's the best club, and it's the best club because of those fans. You know what I mean? Because players come and go. The young players, they retire. Players get bought. Players get sold. Managers come and go. But the real supporters are the ones who are there from when they're born till the day they die, you know, and it's absolutely amazing to see. And you know what I mean? I don't think fans do get the credit what they deserve.
Yeah. You've been there plenty of times, Guesty.
Oh, very.
Home and away.
Yeah. Like you say, the away family, because you class it as a family, the away games, when I used to go to them quite regular, you see the same faces, you know what I mean? And there's so much commitment put into that travelling, like what we just said there, Exeter, Plymouth, but I think the week before they were at Norwich. You know what I mean? And it's the commitment. You know, when I look back now, I don't see where these people get the time from. But they still manage to do it. You know,
it's a love in it. It's a hobby. It's what they just live for the week for. You know what I mean? That weekend, and I think when things weren't going great, it's you dread the weekends. And I think at the minute with everything what's happening, there's such a good buzz about the place. You know what I mean? We have a little bit of a stumble against Stoke City. We pick up a good win at Exeter City, and then we go and score 3 goals away from home again. Yes, we only got a point, but I think it'll be a good point in the long run. I think they'll be disappointed, but I think that disappointment about getting a draw away from Plymouth just shows how far we've come. You know, forget the good side of the bad start. If you're going away to Plymouth, who are a good side, solid side, who got ambitions themselves, to be disappointed with a point shows how far we've come. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, we're live on the Red Radio. You can WhatsApp messages, comments into the studio. The number is 0330 043 2002. That's 0330 043 2002. Also live on Facebook Live. You can stick your messages on there. We're going to get them very soon. Also live on YouTube, on Alexa, online, DAB radio across Teesside, all that sort of gizmos. If you want to get your points in, your questions into Andy and Guesty's ears with us as well, then there's a myriad of ways you can do that. Just a couple of points. You're talking about fans. Ian's been in quick on that one, and he just says without football fans, football would be dead.
COVID proved that, didn't it?
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. I think, listen, you look at the buzz that games get from crowds, and just social media. You know what I mean? There's certain social media posts where they show the away fans following. You know what I mean? And there's big good things made of fans like Middlesbrough, and there's other smaller clubs or big clubs who don't take as good following, and it just shows how big a club that we really are. And I don't think I think sometimes we forget that.
Yeah. Mo Ibra's been on. Hello guys, nice to see Guesty on the show. Last week was a letdown. Ian, good evening everybody watching. Hope you're all well. Had a good day. David, I feel sorry for Barlasser. We can come on to this. His confidence must be shot getting dropped recently for Howson. There's loads flying in at the moment. So fast they're coming in that as I scroll down, then it disappears. Anthony, we need a big win at home. That's at the weekend. We're going to come on to that. It's a massive game. Stu Gawley, evening everyone. Nice shot of Andy with the 2 dinosaurs. Guesty.
No need for that.
No, that was below the bed. Anthony, come on, Boro.
I prefer to call it something like a rose in between 2 thorns.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Love it. Seen some old Boro games on Facebook this week. Rest in peace, Ali. Obviously, Ali must have been the commentator at the time. So you can get your comments in. So, Plymouth. I mean, it was disappointing for me. I mean, look, the heavens opened. You could have sailed a boat on that pitch. So to come away with something is a bit of a bonus. But to be able to look, Plymouth are not pulling up any trees. Let's be a bit brutal here. They're in the wrong reaches of the championship. For us to take the lead like we did and then surrender it, I think it's an opportunity missed. Where did it go wrong in the players' eyes? Well, I mean, what happened there?
Probably more of a capitulation in terms of before half time, giving 2 sloppy goals away quite back to back just before half time. It ruins your confidence. You then got to regroup. You've got a different game plan, But the pleasing thing is we still create a lot of chances. We dominated possession like we have done, so the philosophy in the game plan doesn't change. We created a lot of chances. It was really pleasing that Josh got a goal, even though he tried to miss his penalty. It was quite pleasing.
He did all right.
I was very surprised that he took it, I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I think there was a lot more experienced players there to take that spot kick, but what I liked is he had the confidence to take it, and I hope with what happened hasn't knocked his confidence in order to take the next one, because he still scored a goal.
He took it away, surely.
You know what I mean? So it's a penalty's a penalty, a goal's a goal. It doesn't matter how that goal's scored.
You know yourself what it must be like to be a local lad leading the line for your hometown club. And for me, I've championed for years to have a 20-30 goals, centre forward from Teesside, from Middlesbrough, and we had yourself, and I thought, is he the one? You know what I mean? And then it's gone on, and I think the kid who went to Sunderland, I think the big lad, I can't think of his name. Yeah, I thought he was going to be the one, but I watch Josh now, and I think he could be the one.
He's got the chance, hasn't he? He's got
if
he's got all the attributes. Josh has got all the attributes to be a top player. The only thing I think he's missing is his composure in front of goal.
Yes, and also, he seems to hang behind the last defender all the time. Never seems to nip in front. Yeah. But I think he's got everything that we've wanted for a long time. Yeah,
I think I feel sorry for him a little bit in terms of, if he would have played last year with the delivery he's getting from out wide, you know what I mean? So he's getting delivery this year in different ways by different players, but last year's delivery was far better.
Yeah.
So I think, you know what I mean, he's getting not short-change a little bit, but he's not getting the delivery that other players got last year. So Akpom's goals, yes, he did a lot of them himself, but a lot of things were coming from Giles, a lot of things were coming from Isaiah, coming from other areas. You know what I mean? Riley cutting in from the other side, and you know what I mean. So a lot of our goals now are coming from different ways and different means, which is pleasing. Yeah. But I think he's got everything bar probably the composure. The last home game before the Stoke game, which he missed a couple of one-on-ones against Birmingham. I just lacked that composure at the final moment. But I think when that comes, he's only a young player, and you know what I mean. You've got to be in those positions to score. And you talk, I'm going back a while. The older viewers will know what I'm talking about. But Andy Cole used to get 7, 8, 9 chances a game. Oh yeah, he probably scored 2 or 3. You know what I mean. And his goal ratio in games was amazing. But his goal to chances created ratio was abysmal in terms of what he got. And you know what I mean. Those kind of players are. If you're not there to score and you miss, I'd rather people miss chances. You know what I mean? Because if he's not getting chances, there's no point in being there. Yeah. But since he's come in, we've just looked a different side. Yeah, and that's credit to him.
He's getting 2, 3, 4 chances a game now, and like you say, there will come a time where he does start turning most of them into goals.
That's what I was going to ask. Will experience bring that confidence in front of goal, that composure in front of goal?
I just think goals are like buses. You know what I mean? When one happens, another one comes along very quickly. You know what I mean? And if that's
last year,
exactly. You know, and Josh Coburn will go into Saturday's game confident that he scored last game. So you know what I mean? I've got no qualms in him leading the line against a very good side, against a very good back four, and back him to score. I think. You know what I mean? He just needs to just enjoy playing as he's playing and have the confidence that the manager's picking him. You know what I mean? That's the biggest confidence that anyone can get in football, that your manager thinks you're the best centre forward at the club. You know what I mean? So regardless if the goals are coming, the goals aren't coming, I think the manager realises, the fans know, and I think the manager realises how important he is for that team. You know what I mean? With the way that he rotates behind and wide, and has different rotations, that his 9 sticks, and his 9 is a player who's that battering ram, who gets stuck in, who holds the ball up, and the runners in behind. Greenwood's getting joy because of him. Isaiah Jones has had a good season because of him. You know what I mean? Riley McGree was scoring goals and creating chances before he got injured because of him. You know what I mean? Because of the centre forward. You know what I mean? Don't underestimate how important that 9 is and the role it plays. And I think we probably realise that with the goals that we've lost from last season. And but we've now found someone else who's been there without us probably realising. You know what I mean? He was at Bristol Rovers last year and scored a ton of goals for a good side, for a good manager, at a good level. But now the level's been ramped up a little bit, but he's good enough to do it. He's shown he's good enough to do it. He just needs to probably put goals to his game, and then he'll fly. But I think I want him to score loads of goals, but with January around the corner, do you want him to score loads of goals and someone knocking the door? You're in a chicken and egg situation, you know. So
I'd rather him be scoring the goals and deal with that problem later. Yeah. Absolutely. A couple of comments coming in here. There's a couple of interesting ones actually. VAR has raised its head, and on the North East Footy Brekkie show for the last 10 days I can remember, VAR has been discussed at every point. We'll come on and get your views on that very shortly. But Anthony wants to bring Andy Campbell back. Because he misses you. Why? He's here, mate. He's here. I'm
not sure you'd miss me on Saturday. If I play on Saturday, I think you'd be changing your tune.
You've got an invite, mate. Because Ian's a big Darlow fan and watches the show regularly, so we're converting him.
Yeah.
But he says, please, can Andy Campbell play for Darlow on Saturday? Because we're 8 points from safety. It's not good.
No, it's not good. No, and I do feel for that football club. Listen, you know what I mean. I know obviously Alan really well, and Darren Holloway, who obviously both lost their jobs. Two really good football lads and two good friends of mine, and it's a shame for a club who's took so much time to get back where they needed to get in order to push himself on, and now it's looking a little bit bleak. So fingers crossed he can get himself sorted, because the North East needs the teams, all teams. You know what I mean? The Hartlepool, the Darlingtons, they need them back where they used to be. You know, battling away and it being that hotbed of North East, not just Sunderland, Newcastle, and Middlesbrough. We want everybody.
Guesty, we're getting some support, mate. So Stu Golly's been on Andy having digs at the Zolder fans. Smiling face. Keep it going, Stu. We like you now. You can get back on the Christmas card list, mate. Ian's talking about remembering getting home from a Swindon game in the Old League Cup at 4 o'clock in the morning. So he's talking about the long journeys that the fans are having to make. What about this VAR situation? I've got to ask you about it. I know it's not directed at Boro, but we'll be in the Premier League next year, no problem. We'll have to face it then. What do you make of all what's going on? I mean, the trouble seemed to start that Liverpool goal against Spurs, but we've had a real bad run of it, a pair of you. I mean, where do you stand on VAR?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it part of me really hates it because it just kills football. It kills the enthusiasm. It kills the excitement. But then when you watch the Chelsea Spurs game on Monday night, it was probably the most exciting thing I've ever watched on a football pitch, because it seemed like it went on forever because of VAR, and it made sure that instead of a 45-minute game, I was still watching the first half in an hour, which was like just phenomenal. Would I like VAR? I think as a centre forward scoring a goal, I would hate to think I've scored and then not scored. I would hate to not celebrate a goal and then be awarded a goal. I would hate to celebrate a goal and then get it just taken away from me.
Because in your day, all you had to do was take a quick glance at the linesman and see what he's doing.
Yeah, I'd be offside, because I think with the way that I played on the shoulder and as the last player, I took a lot of risks, and sometimes you probably looked quicker than I probably was, or probably time to run very well. But I think nowadays
you were fast enough.
I was fast enough.
You
bagged plenty.
I think a lot of players
I'd have to change my game.
I think a lot of players from your era and the era before who did play on the shoulder, do you know what I mean? I think the majority of their goals now, especially Slaven,
I was going to say, what about Burnley?
I think the majority of their goals would have been chalked off if VAR was in place then.
Listen, it's such a shame though, because they're making so many mistakes. And I watched the Arsenal game on Sunday against Newcastle, and listen, I'm not a Newcastle fan. I didn't want Newcastle to win. I wanted a nice game of football, which I saw. But when you're watching a replay, and you're watching from different angles, 1 minute the ball looks out, the next minute the ball looks in, the next minute the ball looks like it's not there. It's just we can't go from every angle, because you go from every angle, you're never going to have a conclusive answer. You know what I mean? If you've got to stick to one angle, or just not have it for those kind of reasons. If we're doing offside, we do offside. We can't. Then how many times you go back? They try to cancel a goal three different times.
Attempts.
They tried to cancel a goal 3 times. So is that a conspiracy to try and stop Newcastle from scoring? I'm not sure. I'm not saying that's what's happening. You know what I mean? The ball was out. Was it out? Was it out? I don't know. I can't answer that. Was it a free kick? 100% no. You know what I mean? He's got to challenge for the ball. If he doesn't challenge for the ball, you're going to get 60,000 Geordies having a go at the player.
Do you know this carry on about the whole ball being out?
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, the whole of the ball has to be over the whole of the line.
You've refereed.
Yeah.
So, in years gone past, if that ball looked over the white line, he'd put his flag up, or it'd be a corner or a goal kick. Mm-hmm. But to me, as an old school football supporter, watch that ball, right, if I was playing 10 foot out, the ball was out. And I dare say when you were refereeing, you'd have said...
No, it doesn't change. It doesn't change, Guesty.
So it's always been
Always been the whole of the ball.
Even though it's overhanging the line.
Yeah, the whole of the ball has to be over the whole of the line to be out.
But I think this is a point, Dave, for me, though. I think officials are getting a little bit... They might be told to do it, I don't know the remit. But for me, it looks like they've been a little bit lazy. Don't put your flag up, you know what I mean? Because we can get to the final decision regardless anyway.
Yeah.
Don't do that. If you think it's out, it's out. If they'd have put the flag up, it would have stopped the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's not out.
But they're told not to now because of that exact reason.
Everyone's allowed to make a mistake, and I think that used to be a talking point in the pub. You know what I mean? It used to be a little bit of talking point between players and officials. You know, I'll go back to when Middlesbrough played Man United, and it was the famous when we got beat 4-3 by them in the Riverside, and there was the offside. I think it was Andy Campbell, Dwight York scored, and we all thought it was a mile offside. He looked a mile offside. I've watched the video a million times since, and he still looks offside, but he's miles onside. And I think, you know what I mean, you judge by that moment at time, you know what I mean, and for me, I'd like to go back to the old way of referees making a final decision, and then coming out and explaining the decision. If it's wrong, hold your hands up and say you made a mistake. But if you're right, you judge by how good you are as an official. Like players are judged, managers are judged. I felt really sorry for Arteta, I'll be honest. You know what I mean? VAR a little bit hung him out for dry. You know what I mean? That he says it's definitely not a goal. The decision's a disgrace, but he
called it an embarrassment.
Yeah, every angle which you see, it's a goal. But every different angle what you see, it looks like everyone could be in his.
There was nothing conclusive.
No, but you've got all
any of those three decisions.
You've got all the pundits whinging about it, then you've got all the pundits, Jamie Carragher saying, backing up VAR's decision. Then I dare say on the Monday night, if he's doing a Monday night show, they're pulling VAR to bits.
Yeah.
So there's no consistency in amongst the people around football either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And what I don't like, Guesty, as well, I don't like this concept of get ex-players trained up to do it. You know what I mean? Ex-players aren't an expert on officiating. You know what I mean? They're not an expert on technology. Yeah. They're not an expert on being referees and being assistant referees or fourth officials or linesmen or whatever you want to call them. For me, if you want people to be better, you train them up to be better. You know what I mean? These are the experts. You know what I mean? You never ask a referee to be a manager. Never ask a referee to be a player. You know what I mean? So everyone's got their own expertise. You wouldn't ask a policeman to be a fireman. You wouldn't ask a vice versa. Just don't be disrespectful to each other's jobs. You know. So
I like the cut of this lad's clough because I was talking to Chris Kamara today. He's got his book out, his autobiography, and it's supposed to be a great read. So we're trying to sort out getting him on the radio stations. But I always remember I had a bit of a barney with Chris because we've known each other for a long time. We both worked at Sky together, and he mentioned something on a live program, and I gave him a call afterwards, and I just said, Chris, just so you're aware what the law states. And he went, how many professional football matches have you played in, Dave? And that sums up to me. Players play the game and want the laws of the game to be as they want them to be to help them play.
They want to play. They want them to suit the game.
But they aren't.
No, they're not. They're there to officiate the game.
They are. Yeah.
So where do you stand when you get the likes of Simon Jordan coming up, which I don't mind him sometimes on TalkSport, where he's saying if players cut out the diving, if managers cut out the whinging, you know what I mean, and showed the same respect to referees as the rugby union and the rugby league lads do, you know, the game would move on, it'd be better. But you know, and I know from an early age, you do learn different things to bend the rules a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, football's evolved so much, and I think because it's evolved with different rules, it's evolved with different technologies which has come in, and I think sometimes you just got to embrace it and you've got to move with the times, and I think sometimes we're stuck in our ways. You know what I mean? You talk about respect there. Rugby is such a different animal to football. You know what I mean? The supporters are different. You couldn't sit a Millwall fan next to a Middlesbrough fan. You know what I mean? In rugby, you can sit rivals next to each other, in between each other, and it just doesn't work.
And it's a natural start-stop game. So something like a VAR, that sort of technology.
You don't mind.
It's like cricket. You know, balls bowled, shots taken. The game stops, so you can review stuff. What I don't like is it kills the atmosphere in a football stadium.
I think what I'd like a 60-second clock. So you know what I mean. So far, I've got 60 seconds to make a decision. And if the decision's
that'd be good.
If the decision's not conclusive, then you just can't give it. You know what I mean? You just can't give it. You know what I mean? Because or you give it. There's got to be a black and white. You know what I mean? If you can't see it and it's a goal, you're going to give the goal, or you're not going to give the goal. It's got to work for the defending team or the attacking team, because you're talking about offside what it used to be. If it was, it's got to be in the attacking favour or defence. You know what I mean? We could that game could have been stopped for 10-15 minutes and they still wouldn't have had an outcome.
No.
So have a minute, and if you can't find a minute, then you just move on and play the game.
Marcus Rashford yesterday, Man United game, got sent off because of VAR.
Yeah.
I mean, the referee was literally 5 metres from the challenge, didn't see anything, turned his back and carried on running. It was only when the ball went out of play he was called to come over.
But even still,
to me, it was a red card. I mean, it was a red card. It's everybody talks about. He didn't intend to do what he did. It doesn't matter. Intent doesn't come into any decision making for a referee. The referee judges what has happened on the field. You know, he could have snapped the lad's ankle if he'd have put his weight on it. He could have broken the lower part of his leg, whatever. So it was a red card. But you know, there's another example there of the game was going on, ball goes out of play, and then it's pulled back. Is it right for that situation? No, let's forget the goals. Yeah, is it right to be used for that situation?
It's a tough one for me, you know what I mean? Because I think there's got to be a cut-off point for how long we bring it back for. Because the ball could stay in play for as long as it stays in play.
Could be 10 minutes.
You know what I mean? So where's the cut-off? Because how many things could happen in that time before someone could get hurt? Yeah. Really seriously. You know what I mean? Someone could get yellow carded, red carded. You start rescinding things. You start. I just think the whole thing's a mess, and it's a very grey area. And I think they're trying to appease everybody, trying to appease managers, trying to appease players, trying to appease fans, trying to appease the pundits, everyone's trying to have their input, and it's just not working. Where it should have been just black and white. We're asking for goal line technology. Yeah. We got that, didn't work fully. You know what I mean? There's been holes in it. Yeah. We're asking for VAR. It's been a bit of a mess.
That scenario there you're talking about could have been, like you said, happened Sunday with Luton and Liverpool. Yeah. Luton broke, scored a goal.
It could have been a penalty.
It could have been a penalty at the other end.
Yeah. But that's going to happen. That's going to happen one day.
It is.
I think, it's going to happen, and you know what I mean.
That's why I like goal line technology, because it's instant.
Yeah.
Ball crosses the line. Referee gets vibration on his watch. He knows that it's a goal. Yeah. He can stop the game. Yeah. VAR. You've got to allow the game to go on, and then once it's stopped, they come back and they review, and that's where you're going to get that problem.
But then look at that then. So I guess you talk about that. So it wasn't a penalty, yeah. So so VAR looked at it, wasn't a penalty. Luton scored. Yeah. Let's say the referee stopped the game because he wanted to check it. Then Luton don't get the goal, so Luton lose that game or don't win. You know what I mean? Luton lose the game because Liverpool were always knocking on the door, go and get the equaliser, get the winner. So. You know what I mean?
Well, can you imagine though? FA Cup semi-final.
I know.
Two teams don't like Tottenham Arsenal. FA Cup final at Wembley. Really charged, heated atmosphere, 1-1, and suddenly something happens at one penalty area, which could have been a penalty. Immediately break. You know, the game's still flowing. Goes down the other end and scores. You are going to have absolute pandemonium in that stadium because you've either got to give a penalty and chalk off a goal, or allow a goal to stand when everybody's at the other end is going to be claiming for a penalty. It could create, it hasn't yet, but it could create a really nasty situation.
It just shows, like, now us three sat here, how much VAR has took over the conversation in football.
It does a talking point. It used to be a mistake in the pub. We're talking about a referee's decision and offside, whatever.
We've come here to talk, and all the jokes about going to Specsavers and all that used to come out.
We've come here to talk about the Boro, and we're talking about VAR. You're going to have a round of Premiership.
We'll get off it soon, Guesty, I promise you.
We're going to have a round of Premiership games on Saturday, Sunday, and every week. I bet you now the conversation Monday will be about not about how good the game was, the incidents or saves. It'll be around referees' decisions.
But then talk about that, like, and I've got a concern with that. So you talk about we've got more games. Arteta kicked off. Arteta was ruthless in his comments. You know
and
what I mean?
Arsenal backed him.
Yeah, and Arsenal backed him. So you know what I mean. Normally, you know what I mean. Club wouldn't back him. He'd have to come out and explain his decisions, his comments, and you know what I mean. You've got referees. You've got will officials go soft on? Will VAR go soft on Arsenal? I think they owe them a favour. You know, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I just don't like the concept of it.
And one question, which I don't want us to dig too deep into VAR, but does VAR stop referees refereeing as they would normally do?
100%.
Yeah. So I'm not going to give that one because I'm not sure. So I'll leave it for the guys in the office. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the other concern that's come up this week for me, and it was the Spurs game, Spurs against Chelsea. Long delays while they're looking, 5-minute, 6-minute delays while they're looking at incidents like happened in that Spurs game. Immediately after they restarted, Spurs got 2 muscular pulls.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Players have gone cold. They're standing around waiting to see what's going to happen. Yeah. And then suddenly the game starts again. Quick breakaway. Someone's got to try and accelerate. And you saw what happened.
Yeah. You're going to have to start getting the cones out again.
How long does it take to give the offside goal for Sterling's first goal? And how long does it take to send that player off for the tackle? You know what I mean? You can see after one take that it's a bad tackle. He's followed through. You don't need 7 or 8 looks at the same incident and then call the referee over to go and have a look himself. You know what I mean? If you've seen it, as if the people in the offices or wherever they are in the studio and they've made that decision that it's a naughty one, tell the referee it's a red card, send him off.
Yeah.
You don't need to go and look himself, because what happens if he doesn't think it's a red card? Is he going against the grain? Is he going against his mate who thinks it's a red? He's got to agree with him, because that's why he's going over there. So what's the point of him going over there? The whole thing just doesn't make sense.
Then there's the other part of the argument, which is if a referee's got a call in his ear to say you need to go and look at this, he's automatically thinking, oh, I've got something wrong here. Yeah. So he goes over there with a pair of eyes thinking, I've made a mistake, let's find it. So it's not even a neutral decision.
Is he going to say, Dave, as an official yourself, would you go and have the conversation with him upstairs and say, I got it right, actually. I don't agree with you, because then that's opening a whole kind of worms.
It is, isn't it? Absolutely. A couple of comments coming in on this, and we want to move back onto the Boro. By the way, it is Andy Campbell live on the red across Teesside on DAB radio, smart speakers, apps, online, and live on Facebook Live and live on YouTube as well. So get your comments in if you want. You can do that through the radio station. The WhatsApps into the studio 0330 043 2002. That's 0330 043 2002. Or your comments on Facebook Live, and there's lots. Stu Gawley, we didn't need VAR before, we don't need it now. Bin it. I agree, Stu. Burn it at the stake. It should be half-time entertainment at I was going to say at the Riverside, but we don't have it to burn yet. Ian, I also think VAR is causing players injuries as well. There seems to be a lot of injuries since VAR was introduced. We've dealt with that one, mate. Thank you. Rob, hi guys, good show. The issue is now we have the ability to scrutinise every single decision. It wasn't possible before. So still plenty of comments coming in. Let's get back to the Boro. And the not so small matter, fellas, of Leicester City coming to town. Now, prior to them being beaten by Leeds, we'd have thought, geez, this is the hardest game of the season, or a la Burnley last year. Now they've had a defeat. Guesty, as a fan, are you concerned them coming to town?
As a fan, I've never been concerned when the top two come to town, top of the league against the Boro. Andy will know. For some reason, we always seem to do well against teams that we're expected to get turned over by. Going up to this, leading into the Southampton game, what was it, 6, 7, 8 games without a win? Everyone's petrified. Southampton are coming to the Riverside, done an excellent job on them. Leicester, like you say, I think they're a bit of a different animal to Southampton. I watched the Leeds-Leicester game, and for a championship game, it was absolutely amazing.
The Leeds were brilliant.
Yeah. You know,
hate saying that, by the way.
Yeah, two teams.
Good man.
Two teams at a different level for the championship. So I just have every faith in Carrick. You know what I mean? And
in Carrick we trust.
Yeah,
I think for me the bad thing is that they lost that game. They were going to lose. You know what I mean? We talk about we were going to turn things around. You know what I mean? And with our good solid wins on the bounce, we were always going to lose against the side. Like we got beat against Stoke. Yeah, they were always going to lose a game. It's how they react now. So they're in a different position. You know what I mean? And how do they react? You know what I mean? Look at the players they've got.
Are they too good to go on a bad run?
Define a bad run though. So it's 2 games a bad run,
losing
you know what I mean?
3 games,
2 on a belt. Now I think anybody can beat anybody in our league, but I look at the experience. They've got Harry Winks in the midfield, you've got Jamie Vardy up front.
Oh yeah.
You know, you've got Dewsbury Hall. You know what I mean? They've got some of the most exciting players.
You're frightening
outside of the Premiership. You know what I mean? So for me, it's will he mix things up? You know what I mean? They've got a good enough side to beat Middlesbrough. Let's put that out there. But Middlesbrough have also got enough on their day to beat Leicester City. You know what I mean? Leicester know that. You know what I mean? We'll attack them differently to what Leeds did. I thought Leeds were exciting. They had a lot of pace. I thought they were brilliant on the day. They got the tactics absolutely spot on. It'd be interesting for Leicester. Will they set up differently? Will they come and counter us? Will they defend as a
will they let us dominate the ball?
Will they let us up? But they like to have the ball, you know. And what we can't afford to do is switch off for a second with the centre forwards that they've got. You know what I mean? If that's
they've got Premier League players.
Will they play Vardy? Yeah. Will they play Iniacho? You know, it's going to be a difficult game. But Hayden Hackney playing against Harry Winks, that gives him a real good test of how good a footballer he is. You know, I mean, Dale Fry against Jamie Vardy or Iniacho. You know, what I mean, these are the games that you want to play in as a player. Yeah. You know, I mean, these are the games you want to go and watch as a fan. You know, what I mean, no disrespect to Plymouth. You know, what I mean, when we play them at home, when we play Southampton are a different animal to Leicester. Leicester are top league, they're flying, they're there to be shot at, and that becomes a big scalp for Middlesbrough. You know what I mean? Because we want to get back in the playoffs. We want to get where the Cardiff Cities are currently. You know what I mean? Just in and around those playoff areas, and the only way to get there is by winning. You know what I mean? And we didn't win against Stoke City. So we dropped 3 points. We didn't win against Plymouth, dropped 2 points. You know what I mean? So we need to get back on that horse and get a victory, and we have to do it. You know what I mean? I think probably the game, in order for us to be successful, is a mustn't lose. But I think if we can put the marker down, I think it'll be a great scalp for us at the weekend.
A lot of injuries though, Guesty. So some key players missing. Some of them longer term.
But like you said at the start of the season, I messaged into the show, which, you know, I went too early. I went in 2-footed about the signings, and, you know, didn't feel they were up to the standard of what we were used to.
Guess rightly so, though. I think, you know what I mean. You can judge on.
I did ask you, as a player, sat in the changing room, seeing these signings come in, training with them, did you ever think this lot that's come in isn't as good as what's gone? Did you ever sit there and think that, you know?
I think as a player, and I'll use Hayden as a prime example, as a young player who's got ambitions himself for his own development. He's sitting there, wants to be a Premier League footballer. He looks around thinking, right, who's coming to the Premier League with me here? Because I'm going to the Premier League. You know what I mean? He wants to look around and go, I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players who want to go to the Premier League. You know what I mean? For me, at the start of the season, you're looking around and you're scratching your head thinking who's going to join me. You know what I mean? And that's just the nature of the beast. But I think these players have now stepped up to the plate. They've got themselves ready mentally and physically, because I think they were physically miles off when they first came. And that's no one's fault, but they've come from a lesser league. They've come from a lesser country. And it's took them time to get up to speed. You know what I mean?
think, like you say, Morgan Rogers, the kid from Leeds, Greenwood.
Took us time to get fit. Engel, you know, these kind of players.
I think Engel, the transformation.
Different player.
I still just wish he still wouldn't defend with his arms behind his back.
That's a foreign defender, though, isn't it? I think.
But it's every time.
I think we had Engel's brother for the first 4 weeks. When he came, I think. But
like you say, he's flying up and down that left hand side now. When he's,
and you know, it's so pleasing though, because I think everyone's there to criticise players, and when they're having a bad time. Listen, against Sheffield Wednesday, it was probably one of the most negative performances I've seen from a Middlesbrough defender, who's just every time they got it, they played on his shoulder. They got around the back of him far too many times. But since that game,
happened a couple of occasions.
He's grown up massively, and he looks like he's grown with confidence. I think the time off in terms of international break, he's had time to probably find his feet in the area, play with the players more, get himself fitter, get himself sharper, and he looks like a different player. And fair play to him, because he's done the work himself.
Like Dave said about the injuries, it does look like really we haven't missed Riley McGree. Where he was the main go-to man at the start of the season.
He did make things happen, though. That's
but
why.
Now, like you say, Morgan Rogers has started to turn up. Greenwood's absolutely playing as we want him to. Do you know what I mean?
These players, though,
Lath looks dangerous as an impact player now, coming in from the bench. His movement's unbelievable for me, and his pace. And then you've got Josh, you know, giving his all every week for us.
Josh.
I think with the players who were injured, you know what I mean, these players are going to come back, and when they come back, it's going to be like a new signing, because you're probably looking at Christmas time, January, you know what I mean, for some of the longer term ones, or sooner, hopefully. And these players will be really, really great assets to come back. You know what I mean, your Tommy Smiths, your Liam, your O'Briens, your Riley McGrees, your Lenahans, your Fours. These are absolutely first team players. We're not talking about young players here, by the way. These are international players, some of them. You know what I mean? And players who've played at the highest level, and players who know the championship inside out. So these players will come back at such a pivotal time. And if we can be just in and around the area, you know what I mean? You just never know, because you look like Leicester have been beaten last week. Ipswich drew at the weekend and drew against Rotherham through the week. You know what I mean? So are they faltering? Are they? You know what I mean? Listen, everyone's going to have a bad spell. You know what I mean? This is our good spell.
That's why I was asking you: is Leicester too strong, too good a squad to go through a real bad spell? Because they're going to have to lose a chunk of games for people to catch them up.
Yeah, I think especially to get out those kind of playoffs. I think Ipswich are the faltering. I think time will tell.
I think they could.
Yeah, well, I think 100%. I think they will.
Out of the two of them,
100%.
The one I'd put your money on, Guesty.
They won't have the squad. They won't have the squad in terms of depth. So if they get a couple of injuries, suspensions, tiredness, you know what I mean, something will kick in. And they'll obviously have some tough games as well. So
I hope you're right, because I said the same about Bournemouth years ago when we were fighting with them to go up. You know what I mean? I always thought Bournemouth would fall away and falter that season. You know what I mean? And like you say, they proved everyone wrong.
There's always a team though who doesn't falter, and there's always a team who just runs away with it. It seems in the championship, and then it always leaves a gap for one more.
I think Leicester, like you say, are pretty much nailed on.
Listen, they've got the manager, the young manager from Man City, who's notoriously the staff who leave Man City always have a good career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Artetas of this world, and you know what I mean. So they've got an opportunity. They've got some good players. Conor Cody as well. You know, I forgot about him. And I mean, listen, they've got
Conor
unbelievable.
Cody.
I mean, we're talking about these
Players you've forgotten about for a moment.
We're talking about players who've just lived in the Premier League all their life and done
Like
really
you
good
see
jobs.
Big Josh
Play for country.
knock Conor Cody about a bit late.
Listen, but
You know what I mean?
these are the kind of games that Josh should be getting an early night on Friday, just waking up Saturday morning thinking, well up for this today. I can't wait for this. And I think that's so exciting. That, you know what I mean, that they're the games that you want to play as a player.
See Big Dale putting Jamie Vardy's
back end
into the West Stand somewhere, you know.
Watching his lovely wife tweet something about Dale on Sunday morning.
How can he do this to my man? That's right. Ian, I can remember Jamie Vardy making his first league game for Fleetwood against Darlington at the old Darlington Arena. It was a 2-1 win for Darlow. One of the last games before we went bust. That's nice memory to have, mate.
Well, I came across Jamie when he went to Halifax Town, because I just left Halifax when they went bust.
Yeah.
So then Jamie came in as nothing, you know, nobody. He just came out in non-league football, and he was. I went to watch him a couple of times, and he blew me away. You knew then he was something special.
He was frightening then.
You knew then he was something special. Yeah, and obviously then Fleetwood took him for £1 million, and the rest is history.
Indeed. Ian's predicting 2-1 Boro win, hopefully. Rob's doing the same. Stu Gawley's doing the same. A lot of people going for 2-1 Boro here.
Yeah, I went 2-1 last week, didn't I? That went down well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Guesty, where are your thoughts on Leicester? Come on, mate.
Like you say, after watching them against Leeds and then seeing that they're coming to Riverside shortly after getting beat.
I mean, Burnley last year came to Riverside and had a party.
Burnley came and absolutely bullied us off the park. So hopefully Carrick's learnt his lessons by, you know, a team of that stature coming to the Riverside. Obviously he's still on a massive learning curve, so hopefully he prepares the lads a bit better and we go into it better prepared than what we were against the likes of Burnley last season. So I always have, you know, I'll say 4-0 Boro, mate.
You're the eternal optimist, are you?
But I'd be happy with a 1-1 draw, you know, because I still think we've still got massive frailties at the back. Like you say, we're conceding 3 to Plymouth, 2 to Exeter.
Mind you, those two were worldies.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want to swear. What really annoys me?
Yeah, don't swear, mate.
If
I'll lose my licence.
Yeah. All of a sudden on Facebook, on your social medias, because this guy scored 2 goals against us, do you think we should look at signing him in January?
That's the comment, is it?
You know what I mean? Like you say, that's the typical Boro fans for you. You know what I mean? Whoever scores 2 against us, should we look to sign them? You know what I mean? But yeah, like the worst 2 worldies. Carrick said today we're conceding too many goals from outside the box.
How do you stop that?
Well, I've always said, Dave, like defensively, I don't. Defence starts in attack. You know what I mean. So if you cut chances out and you press higher, and you have a different ethos and attacking players work hard at the close space and close players down, I think we massively miss that Grant Ledbetter kind of type player who just sweeps things up, who protects the back four. You know what I mean. Someone's job, a Kante, Makalele, those kind of players are so valuable in terms of protection. Breaking things up, winning the ball back, passing to people who can play. And that's not me being disrespectful. Robbie Mustoe did it at Middlesbrough for years. You know, that he did his job. He won the ball back. He protected the back four of an ageing back four at the time with Nigel Pearson, Steve Vickers. Got the ball, won the ball back, passed it to the Emersons and the Janinios and those lads who were better than he was technically. And that's such a pivotal role. Everybody needs a Robbie Mustoe. Everybody needs a Makalele and a Kante, that kind of role. And I think,
but under Warnock and Wilder and the other one, Pulis, didn't you feel as if that was Howson's role in the team?
Yeah, probably. I think it was.
For more under Carrick now, everyone's
expansive.
Everyone's so more forward thinking. Yeah, it does leave us a bit short. It does, back.
And I think with the 3 in there, I think, you know what I mean, for me the rotation's got to be that one rotates back into sit. You know what I mean? That might be Hayden for 6-7 minutes during the game. It'll predominantly be that normal number 4. You know what I mean? Normally the most experienced one, the one who doesn't want to be doing the forward runs and busting a gut and losing energy. And Johnny's probably the one I'm talking about. You know what I mean? That he's got there. He's clever enough to sit and just get his cigar out and enjoy a game of football. You know what I mean? Whereas let Hayden do his running for him. Let other players, let Matty Cricks do his running for him. And I think sometimes use your experience, because when he goes, Matty Crook's always forward and Hayden doesn't want to sit. Hayden wants to be the one getting the box scoring goals, and if they're all three of them are doing it, who's protecting?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the issue.
Since, like you say, since Aiden's come in, it's been like watching Dad and Lad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Howson's looked after him, kept him right, and like you say, his legs are all over the place.
He's still learning, Hayden, as well. Still learning.
He is,
yeah. Oh, definitely. We're talking about him as if he's played 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons for the Boro. You know what I mean? God knows what he's got in front of him. Yeah. You know, because he's about the nearest to Graham Souness I've seen for a long time.
It's interesting, because we had a real good conversation at work about Hayden, and these are people who know the system, got kids in the system currently at the club, and said he went on loan at Scunthorpe, struggled, was out of his depth a little bit, but he learned. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of players need to do what Hayden's done. Go out there, learn an adult's way of football, and be thrown into the wolves, get thrown in the deep end and understand. It happened to me, you know. I did it at Sheffield United, I did it at Bolton. You learn a different side of football. You know, you're not playing against 16, 17, 18 year olds anymore. You're playing against adults who want to hurt you, adults who want to demand excellence from you. You know what I mean? When you get thrown into the first game against Neil Ruddock, Neil Ruddock's not going to give you an easy game. He wants to damage you. He wants to win a game of football, but everyone's like that. Every team's like that. So, you know what I mean? It's no different now in 2023 than it was back in 1996. You know what I mean? Every player wants to go on that pitch and win a game. And players need to be ready, and he's learned the hard way, you know what I mean, and probably thinking he was on his way out of the club, you know what I mean, going to Scunthorpe, but then all of a sudden now look at him now, he's potentially a £30 million footballer in a championship side, you know, so the future's bright for Middlesbrough.
And he's English again.
Yeah, and he's English, and he's playing for the 21s. His future's so bright, he's got so much going for him. But he obviously wants to score more goals as a player, he wants to set more things up, but that comes with leaving a gap at the other end, and I think, you know what I mean,
like you say,
we need to look after that as a team though, because the 3 rotations got to be a little bit better. And spoke at the start of the show about Barlasser losing his place. Barlasser is usually that player who gets the ball off the back 4, sits and just sprays balls around. The fans don't seem to buy into him because he does that kind of thing, but he's so valuable in terms of that. He'll be disappointed because his performance levels have been picked up. He does a lot of sideways passing, but that's the kind of role that player does. The 4 goes sideways and gets balls back off this back 4 and keeps the ball, knits things together. Doesn't always look forward, but sometimes that role is a niche role, and fans don't like it because he doesn't look forward, but it's pivotal sometimes to success.
Coming from Brian, no clean sheet at the weekend, so we've got to score a few. That seems to be where we are, isn't it?
Hasn't that been the Michael Carrick way though?
Well, it has, hasn't it? I mean, look at last season, but we did have 45 million quid's worth of attacking sort of play in the team that was removed in the summer. But we've continued. I mean, we did go through that barren spell in terms of points at the start of the season, but then the goals started flowing.
On that though, is that why Michael doesn't get flustered with letting a goal in, because he just knows we've got to score more goals?
And he insists we play the ball out from the keeper at the back.
So you're going to lose goals. You're going to give the ball away in dangerous areas, and if you're taught an edge of the box and you're not protected anyway, then you are going to let goals in. You know what I mean? It's such a shame because I think the goalkeeper's been outstanding since he's come.
Yeah, I do.
There's not many goals where I'd pinpoint him and go, his fault. You know what I mean? Not many. You know what I mean? There's been some worldies against him this year, by the way.
But the third goal against Plymouth, how many times do you see that in a game of football? How many times have you seen that scenario, Andy, where it's a free kick, it's whipped in,
the defender goes down to head it,
everyone misses it, and it's in the corner. I can't blame a keeper.
I can't blame the keeper because
it's the ball, isn't it? It's the quality of the ball. You know what I mean?
I think Engel should have thrown everything he possibly could.
100%. But
if you're going to go for it, you've got to.
But I think sometimes as a I hate heading the ball, to be fair, so I'm no expert here. But as a player going to head the ball, if you're not confident that you're not going to end up putting it in your own goal, you're going to leave it. And you leave it, then you're risking someone's behind you who's going to score, or worst case scenario, it goes all the way in. And
that's what happens.
It's unfortunate. But that's the quality of the ball, because if the ball's no good, then you can leave it comfortably, know it's going to go out. But now everyone's an expert.
And it was a wet night, and
zips off the floor, doesn't it?
Dieng didn't have, Dieng thought Engel was going to head it, and it was the last minute change, didn't have time to react. So predictions times, fellas. I think we're getting to that point. I mean, we know, Guesty, you want to win 4-0, but that's your heart ruling your head. What's your head saying?
I'll like you say, I'll be happy with a point. I'll go with a 1-1.
Yeah.
You know, I can't see us taking the 3 points, you know what I mean, just totally because of the quality of Leicester's squad and what they have up front. But I think we've got enough to go toe to toe with them and come out even with them.
Yeah. Listen, Leicester, I believe will definitely score, but Middlesbrough will definitely score. You know, I think there's too much quality on the pitch to not have goals in this game. There's international footballers. There's some very, very, very good footballers on show at the weekend. 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Lots of goals.
Galore.
But then, I mean, well, they're just continuing a theme, aren't
Goals
we, really?
galore. It's goals galore. It's got to be. We're talking about how Frailty's at the back. We're talking about how good Josh is, how Greenwood. We're talking about how good we've got going forward. They've got quality.
We haven't even mentioned Jones.
Yeah, I know.
You know, he's been frustrating these 2 games, but he keeps getting the ball. The last 2, he keeps getting the ball and he keeps wanting to put it in there. You know what I mean?
It's consistency.
He has
with
no
him,
fear.
It's consistency.
Yeah.
He gets consistency with his final ball. He'll be some player.
Yeah.
He gets his stats and his data.
Well, I've been refusing to make predictions on every show that we do on the Red because I've been getting it wrong so badly.
I get it wrong.
But I agree with you guys. I mean, we're the masters of grabbing defeat from the jaws of success against the easy teams.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about Leicester coming to town. No. So I think we'll be on our game, but I still think they're massively strong. I think my heart is telling me we'll get a point. My head's telling me it might not be our weekend, but I'm not going to let my head rule.
No.
So I'll agree with you guys. I'll say it's a draw, but 1-1.
Yeah, I think if Leicester had to continue to win, I think it makes it a little bit easier game because they probably wouldn't have refocused and regrouped, but they've had to since
and
last
no
Friday.
midweek games as well,
and they've had an extra day. You know what I mean? Because they played Friday night against Leeds, so they've had that extra day. I'm not saying it's important, but the amount of games that Middlesbrough have had recently, you know what I mean? They've got a big squad. They can probably regroup, reshuffle, work on things a little bit more. They've got a little bit more rest. They had less travelling. You know what I mean? So a lot more factors are going for them than Middlesbrough right now.
Cracking. Fellas, we're done and dusted. Thanks for your time,
Fabulous.
Andy. Thanks for another Cam's Red Army.
Loved it.
Back next week, Thursday, usual, 7 o'clock, and on the Red, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, around the world. Cracking. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Dave.
Andy Campbell on the Red.
This is the Red.